back at the scene of the crime with another unsolved, somewhat solved mystery. Today we are on Bainbridge Island, a small city in western Washington state. It's connected to Seattle by ferry, and although it's just 35 minutes by ferry from Seattle, Bainbridge Island is a totally different world. To say life here on the island is picturesque, quaint, affluent, and generally safe is a complete accuracy. The island feels country, and local agriculture, farmers markets, boutique shops are all a source of pride for residents here. The island is also known for its strong visual and performing arts culture, and there's good shopping in Winslow, which is where our next story takes place. J.D. Phillips, 23 years old, was shot to death along with Ty McCullough, 18, and Anne Marie Rice, 19. This occurred in a secluded area off of Blakely Avenue on March 17, 1989. The Kitsap County Sheriff's Office believed 3 suspects took a briefcase from J.D., Ty, and Anne Marie, which had cocaine in it. Then they opened fire on the truck that they sat in, killing them all. Only one suspect, Douglas John Stanfield, pleaded guilty and was convicted of the crime. The 2 other suspects were never convicted, and as a result, the crime was never fully solved. For friends of the 3 murdered Bainbridge Islanders, the universe was an ellipse, a shape with 2 centers. One was the scene of the crime, this grassy shoulder area off of Blakely Avenue, which offers a view of the woods where the truck still sat with its cargo of death when it was discovered. The other center was a few miles away, here in Winslow, at what once was the Jiffy Mart convenience store. At the time, it was the most popular hangout on the island for teenagers. And in clusters of 2, 3, or more, young people fluctuated between the 2 centers of their universe. One of the high schoolers said, "No one's been murdered here for 10 years, and it was 3 of our friends who were just out having fun." Yes, I know. Selling drugs is not the normal person's perception of out having fun. But these were dumb, young kids. You make mistakes, and you have a chance to change. Usually. The gathering spot in the parking lot outside. It was here on Thursday night, March 16th, 1989, that Ty McCullough offered a ride in his 4x4 to J.D. Phillips and Annie Rice. Now, Stanfield pleaded guilty in September of 1990 to the murders. Despite an intensive investigation, Kitsap County Sheriff's detectives were unable to crack the case until Stanfield told a jailer he had been involved. Stanford had told detectives he and an Everett man caught a ferry to Bainbridge, where they met a 3rd man. The 3rd man, whom he later identified as a Bainbridge Island bartender, according to Stanfield, the bartender pointed his gun at Stanfield and told him to shoot. The 3 men then left the bodies in the truck, and they later split with the cocaine. After his arrest, Stanfield was charged with 3 counts of murder, and right before his trial, he told his lawyer he wanted to plea bargain. Prosecutors agreed to let Stanfield plead guilty to first-degree murder in Phillips' death and second-degree murder in McCullough's death. They then dropped charges involving Rice's death. On condition, Stanfield agreed to testify against others involved in the crimes. Prosecutors also agreed to recommend a lesser prison sentence. Stanfield pleaded guilty in a closed session because detectives wanted to arrest the bartender before word of Stanfield's plea bargain became public. Weeks later, Stanfield changed his mind, but of course he did, contending he made up the story and that his lawyers coerced him into pleading guilty. A judge ruled there was no evidence he'd been coerced and refused to let him withdraw his guilty plea. During sentencing, the prosecutor's prison recommendation of 28 years was rejected and opted for an exceptional sentence of 45 years instead. Oh. Anne-Marie, we love you. Looks like she loved cars. Particular kind, I think. There really is no information on JD, Ty, and Anne-Marie on the internet. Not that I could find. I found Anne-Marie's grave, and she was the only one looking back at me who knew the whole truth and nothing but the truth. Literally, figuratively, and imaginatively. I often wonder how old cases would fare well in today's times. I'm not quite sure about this story. I think the police did what they could with a lying criminal. And even though they say it's case unsolved, I'm having a feeling it's closed. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this little story from Bainbridge Island. I've got more to coming, Tacoma, Seattle, and beyond. Stick with me, guys. Stick with me. This is new. Anyway, thanks for your time today. Thanks for watching. Like, share, and subscribe.